I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Come grab a seat.
Certainly.
We're gonna go around and recognize yes.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna take
I'm a big guy. It's a small room. I expected bigger, honestly.
I had a couple of things. One, I'd like to thank you for getting the wreath plugged back in, the gazebo finished, and getting the light back in the light post at the post office. That makes the town look like it's being taken care of, which is nice. And then I just had a question about the meeting that's coming up Friday, why it's not out on the sign, so that the public can really know. I mean, the sign is saying that the town hall is closed Friday through Monday, but there's nothing about that we're still having a public meeting at 6 o'clock.
I think I can ask to get that put on there for the week.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yep. Anything else?
Nope.
Evan?
Gary and I came about getting money for the Hillside Cemetery, put into the budget. I believe South Richford has something along those lines.
He's talking about Hillside Cemetery, South Richford. They wanted to know if they could have some
No,
money.
Hillside up on
Hillside, yes.
The hillside section.
Yes.
What we're looking at is we're running out of money. And we're basically gonna have to have some way to have it mowed. And whether you guys could put it onto your mowing of the town budget or your town having all the properties mowed, like the South Richford Cemetery and whatever, because it's costing us a fortune to mow and we just don't have the money, and otherwise we're gonna turn the cemetery.
We'll just have to abandon it.
Abandon it.
I mean, basically, we're spending money a lot faster than we're bringing it in.
Right.
You know, the old days of Dig hiring 2 or 3 high school kids to go up there and mow and rake and stuff are gone. You know, it's
Do we take care of the bottom section already?
Yes,
Yes.
that's the town
Yeah.
section.
basically below the driveway, right?
Yeah,
Below
from the
road.
building down.
Okay.
But from the building up, the
You
back
can see
side of the building up is hillside, and you know, we don't have many graves that, you know, lots that we sell, there's not. I mean, we've raised our prices same as up in South Richford, so we could be compared to each other, but it's just, there was a long point that we didn't have land to even sell.
Right.
Right.
We don't have a lot of lots left to sell, basically. You know, it's a very old cemetery and it's basically full, very close to full.
And even, we had an awful time just to find a treasurer to do our bills and stuff. We did find somebody finally, but
Right.
nobody wants to do it anymore.
Right.
It's basically
we
come down to
volunteer.
Gary and I now.
So that's why we're here. I don't know, last year we hired Stevie Combs Jr.
Yep.
And it was like 11,000 to mow.
Yeah, and that was a 3-year contract.
We kind of wanted.
11,000 a year?
Yeah. Well, we asked Donald
Not
Noyes.
many,
and-
not much mowing season, is there? It seems, how
That's a
much
rough
per month
cemetery.
is
Plus-
that when there's
yeah,
only 5 or
Plus
6?
cleaning too.
That includes cleaning spring and fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a tough cemetery to mow too. It's not like a nice flat.
Right. It's
You know, I mean, you guys have been up there.
Like, yeah.
That's not, you know,
Right.
you can't do it with a big mower. It's a tough
No, you have to
cemetery.
have
Mow a
a-
lot of hand
actually-
mowing, a lot of hand trimming.
Yep.
It's just the nature of it. But it's a pretty cemetery and, you know, we've tried to keep it going the last few years. It's just gotten where we can't afford to on our own.
At one point, weren't you talking about having the town take it over?
Yes.
That was a
We
couple
were,
years
and we
ago,
decided to
Well,
try.
we had some, we said we'd try to keep it going as long as we could. And now, it's like we said, we're paying 11,000. When we used to get Danny Turkout, which did a great job up there for 4,000 or 5,000 for the whole year, if that. And now we're up to, you know, Donald Noyce one year was like 15,000 or close to it. And
That was several years ago.
that was just, and then we got the Combs kid to do it for 11,000. I mean, that's quite an increase, and we're not, last year we sold 2 lots, and that's about, one was a 2-person, the other one was a 4-person, so that's about $700 that we brought in.
If we're at the point where we have to pay to maintain it, I wonder, is that something we should be talking about again, having the town take it over?
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's,
Yep, either way, I mean,
either way, I mean,
we wouldn't
we'll
be
give you
opposed
the
to
books, you guys can do all the books, and I do it all for free, so I don't care. I mean, you know, I've done it since 2005 with, after Dig died, I kinda took over the book part, and I did all of the stones and
When
burials.
Danny was getting done, he discussed with Linda, I guess, and someone with
Yes.
the town about
Yep.
taking it over.
She did
And
bring
then-
it to a
and
couple
then
of meetings.
Gary and I said, well, we'll try to keep it, you
Yeah.
know, independent, as it always has been,
Yep,
just
it's
because,
just too much, yeah.
but it's, there's just not enough money coming in, so
Yeah.
they'll be gone.
Right.
And, you know, people don't donate like
They're used to-
years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all
That's
we have.
something we can bring to another meeting, we'll do a vote on it or whatever and discuss it more. Andy, what's your thought on that?
I know a little bit of the history there. I think eventually we're going to end up taking it over, town being. So, yeah, I look forward to it and probably talk with Donald to see. I mean, we already signed the contract this year.
We had signed last year a 3-year contract, so,
Oh, so you still have 2 more years with Steve?
yeah, this
Okay.
coming year and the following year.
Okay,
Which, you know, I mean, if the Hillside Cemetery no longer exists, I guess
Contracts down.
the contract's gone,
Right.
but ethically, we should,
Contract
you know,
avoided.
ethically, we should stay with what we had promised.
Because we put it out to bid.
I don't think Donald or anybody else will do it cheaper than that, anyway.
No,
How
because we
much a
did
year
put
are
it,
you paying?
It's like 11,000,
11,000.
yeah.
and that's a big cemetery.
We can
It's-
get a-
You
yeah.
guys know that cemetery, it's a big
Yes.
cemetery, and
And I
it's,
think Donald and them do the bottom part of it.
yeah, he does the
he
bottom.
does the bottom
Top.
part, yep.
Because we tried to get him to do the top part too, and he said that he wouldn't do it for that type of money.
Right.
It would be more,
It's a hard cemetery to mow.
Yep,
because he did it one year, and
You guys walk around up there sometime and look, and it's,
yeah.
So, Sherry, are they asking for help or are they asking for the entirety?
They could
What?
go either way.
we're asking for help, Andy, but we're not opposed to the other way either.
right.
Right.
The bottom line is, it's very, very shortly, we're gonna have no money left to do anything with it.
How much help are you thinking you need to have a path
They were hoping,
We really would need the mowing piece of it.
the mowing piece of
The rest of it, there's other expenses, I mean, we've had
Insurance.
trees taken down and insurance, and
right.
there's a couple more, there's a big pine tree that really should come down.
Yeah, we
Wow,
put
it's gonna come
some
down,
maples
but
down this year.
further we took it down.
Yeah. So they're looking around 11,000 a year or us just taking it over. It's either or.
So it's budget time right now.
Yes.
So we need to discuss that probably and see what we can work with.
Yep,
So we'll discuss it on Wednesday.
Yeah,
We can discuss it on
discuss whichever way you'd
Wednesday. Yeah.
rather do it, we're not opposed to keeping it for, I think eventually that
it's
It
gonna
will
go
go
that
with
way,
it, yeah.
but,
Yeah, because, I mean, it's
If
getting
if
harder
you
to
would
find
prefer we
people.
kept track of, you know, taking care of it, we would. I don't know, possibly, Alan, that the town would have to write the check, not us. I mean, you can't write a check to us and then we give it to Stevie. I don't know if that's really the way that should work.
Yeah, I guess we'd have to talk about how we wanted to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And either way, you know,
Yeah.
we're.
I suspect if the contract's between you and him, we would probably end up writing the check to you.
To us,
We'd have to talk to Kyle
Kara.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whichever, it really doesn't matter.
okay.
Whatever you guys decide's the easiest, best way for you to do it, that's fine.
Okay,
Okay?
Yeah, we can
Thank
talk
you
about
very
that on
much.
Wednesday.
Thank you.
Perfect.
You
Thank you,
let us
guys.
know.
Yes, we will let you guys know for
All
sure.
right, thank you.
I showed up last, and I,
Well, I'm just kind of going
Go around.
around.
okay. Alan Davis,
Yes,
affiliated with Imagination Entertainment LLC. I live here on Main Street.
Yep.
I've lived here for 4 years. I've never been towed, except for today, or last night, if you want to call it. It didn't snow last night though, so that's what perplexes me, is that, you know, I always move my vehicle whenever it snows. I don't leave it there. I get out of the way for the plows. I respect the plows. It just seems like common sense was missing in that route of action. It seems like somebody was trying to price gouge and just, you know, pull money out of someone on Christmas. And also, I don't want to pull this car, but I am going to pull it. It's my son's birthday today too. But I got my truck back, no worries.
good job. Yeah, we ended up getting into a contract a couple weeks back with a towing company just before the winter began started. We've had hard times getting a towing company to come and actually follow through. So this one
Well-
here has been doing that, and we've been working on this for years, and we finally got one that's actually
So
coming and
if
doing
someone's gonna follow through, then may I recommend using more common sense, or even just adding in an asterisk the sentence, unless of no snow. Because it is absolutely ridiculous to waste tax dollars on any
Oh, it didn't
of the
cost us
sort.
anything.
You're contracting this person.
No, we hired him, he's taking
You
care of it, he
hired
does
him,
his own
okay.
business, we don't pay him, we don't make a cent from anything.
The whole thing
Yeah.
is robbery, and I really do think that it's not common sense enough for this town, and many people agree with me. And if I have to collect them all and have some kind of protest to make an example or something,
Right.
I don't know. I'm an artist, so those are
You
my
guys-
resources
now,
that I
Behind your
use.
guys' buildings, you guys have parking spots, is your landlord
So here's the
not
thing, my
maintaining them?
landlord has not, we have steps going down to my part. The cement steps
Yeah.
are all crooked and broken,
Yep.
and they have not fixed it. I've asked them to. I even talked to the housing department today,
Yeah.
Kim, about getting everything inspected finally, because I guess it's been so long that she didn't even know where the main entrance had moved since she's been in there.
Okay.
So
Right, so this would be
the
something
main
where
issue
you're-
is that, I mean, I'm a 350-pound guy. If I take a slip and fall on those cement broken stairs, I'm gonna be hurt, and someone's gonna have to be responsible for
that
that.
would be your landlord.
But, I mean, I'm being forced to park down there when I shouldn't have to. You see,
Well-
when it freshly snows,
Right.
it's not a problem to walk down when you got powder
Right.
but when the night before it snows, or even after that, if it hasn't snowed in a while, that snow starts to turn to ice, it gets slippery.
Right,
It's just not common sense, and I'm telling you,
But
I
those
will
are-
run
but
a
those are-
campaign myself if you don't agree to change this.
but the parking spaces in
I
front of
will.
those buildings aren't part of the buildings, they don't belong to the buildings. The parking spaces in the front, your landlord should have significant assigned parking for you guys out behind your
I don't have
property.
enough cards, but here's
You
my
see what I'm
card.
saying though?
So it sounds like our parking ban has been in effect for years.
And it was never actually enforced.
That was not for lack of effort on our part, it was lack of,
No,
Yeah,
it was
but-
common sense why it wasn't enforced. It was enforced if the plow showed up. We all got a notification
Yeah.
saying, hey, the plow's here, you gotta move.
yeah, but it wasn't.
That was a courtesy thing even.
Yeah,
You
but-
guys wanna make it like Nazism where, oh, you must absolutely park out there, all hail us because we made this
Right.
law.
Weird.
That is
How
what
would-
you're trying to
You're
say.
gonna see
No.
difference be coming down and sitting, parking in front of your house, I mean, it's.
Well, the thing
public
is,
parking. It's supposed to be cleaned off,
This is, what we have in place is no different than any other town.
right,
Burlington,
I hear,
St. Albans.
okay, and those
I mean-
towns probably have way more citizens that live in them, and we have way less. I mean, there's only two apartments being rented in my building right now. And I'm the only one with a vehicle.
Well, that that's beside.
And on the other side of the street, they never get any mind paid to them. Those people that live on that part of Main Street across from, and that live in the white building right there, I see them parked there all the time, all year round, and they never get any.
Well, I don't know how
so-
that's gonna work this year. I mean, well,
And who knows?
Yeah.
Right,
But
because they have parking spaces.
But if you're
out
saying
back
things are
behind them.
changing this year all of a sudden,
No, we're
I've been here
following
for
our
4
bylaws.
years.
We're following our bylaws, the signs have been.
Then it's
posted
time
for
to
a couple
change them
years.
because it's not written good enough.
I'll have,
This is what the select board's supposed to do. I've been here for 4 years. I'm trying to build this town up with my business that I've laid on the table there, and you guys obviously aren't interested in.
Andy, you saying something?
I do music and
Yeah,
film.
it's been posted on their sign.
Of course, okay, I'm keeping getting the same answers, the basic answers that are gonna make you guys lose your position on the select board. That's a promise. You can know as many people as you want. I'm gonna talk common sense. You're not speaking common sense to me. You're just repeating the same thing. It's been written, then change it. Do your job.
to accommodate you?
To accommodate everybody, because everyone else agrees
Who's everybody else?
that
Yes.
lives on Main
Andy,
Street.
yes?
You wanna control Main Street, then you should speak with the residents.
Basically, shut
I'm here representing
Okay.
them.
just talking circles.
Okay.
Right?
Yep,
I'm talking circles? You guys are talking circles. We got it on camera right now.
okay.
Feel free to bring a protest if you need.
Good. That's what it's gonna take. You guys f***ed up. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. Okay,
Would you like to change the subject?
yes, please.
I'm Debbie Atherton. I'm Debbie Atherton. I'm a trustee with the Harvard A. Brown Library.
Yes.
And this is Allison Hope. She's another trustee too.
Hi.
So what we've come today is to present a budget for next year. We're really late this year and stuff like that. And also just an update of the types of things that the library is doing too, so.
Okay.
You too.
Yeah, no,
Can you hear Andy?
Hi,
I
Andy.
can hear very little.
Okay.
So,
You guys want to sit here to talk?
Sure.
Okay.
so, I'm Allison. I'm the newest member of the library board, and quite honestly, it's the first thing I did when I moved into town. So, I'm from Vermont, not from away, and the last 21 years I've been living and owned a home in Westford. And then sold my house, my kids are in college and have moved out. I run the Vermont Maple Sugar Makers Association. It's a nonprofit. I'm the executive director, and basically I can live anywhere in Vermont. And so now I'm in the middle of sugaring country, and it works out kind of perfectly. I got a
Perfect.
note from a member the other day and said, "I live 3 doors down. If you would like me to drop that off, please just let me know and I will drop it off." So, and one of the things that I looked at when I moved into town was the library. So I looked at the select board, I looked at your minutes, and I looked at the library because community engagement is important to me, and I feel like how the community feels about the library is sort of a litmus test for how engaged the community is and how interested they are in other things that are going on. And so what I notice in this community is that there's a great group of dedicated trustees, a great staff who gets frankly paid far too little. There are at least 2 staff members that are at minimum wage, and the library director is not much above that. For a community that talks about economic development, we can do better, for sure. And so we just had a conversation about this year's budget and all the things that happen at the library. And as a new trustee, I'm not even sure I could encapsulate it, but I see the library in this community as a very, very valuable community hub. And in Westford, I will tell you, our library in Westford, I was a select board member in Westford for a while, a school board member, a library trustee. When I first moved there, I was a town auditor. And so I appreciate what everybody does. I know it's thankless, and I know sometimes you get people who don't agree with what you're doing. The library here connects with the community in ways that you just don't often see, whether it's through, with a really diverse community, frankly, of all sorts of folks with different needs and different means, and the library meets them where they're at. So whether it's a summer program, whether it's the usual materials, extended Wi-Fi, public computers, game nights, book clubs, they've got free diapers, harm reduction bags, free COVID testing, story walks. They have a community room that people can use. Like the list is pretty far-reaching, and now that the elementary school doesn't have a librarian, Kathleen and her folks are also filling in that gap. So,
Library down there?
no, no,
But there's a
and
librarian, but there's no librarian.
there's no librarian there, so they don't have the same services. Normally, the school librarian would be a trained educator, a licensed educator as well. And
Yeah.
so Kathleen has been filling in those gaps and inviting those kids to come to the library and do more with her, make sure they have all library cards.
Is that just a funding gap, or?
I don't think they
couldn't
funded
make
it, they couldn't find someone
Okay,
to
so-
come in. And so I think that's the, like, you don't want that to be the beginning of the end for
Yeah.
that. So we just wrote up a quick, it's like the preview to the town report, along with the requested budget for this next fiscal year in terms of the town appropriation. For the hours that the library is open, it's a super lean staff. And you'll see that the vast majority of the budget, like most budgets, is personnel. I don't know what the town office gets for, what the folks who work here get for benefits, but the library staff are all part-time and there are no benefits. There's a few days off, and the state also requires a few days off per regulations, but there's no benefits. The salaries are below average from what I see in the Vermont League of Cities and Towns salary survey for libraries. So we looked through that for town sizes. And then it really is materials, programs, supplies. You know, the next biggest line item is library expenses, and then the basic other items. And so what the library has done very successfully in past years is gone out and gotten grants. But for any of you who has ever gotten grants, myself included, you know that most of those grants don't cover operating costs. They're not going to pay your library director's salary. They're going to pay for specific programs. Like you need to fill your collection with more books from that show diversity, so kids can see kids who look like them in the books in your library, for example.
Right.
And so we'll give you a grant to buy those. We're not going to give you the grant to spend the time to buy them. We're not going to give you the grant to enter them into the system, but we'll give you the grant for those hard physical things. And there are some grants that will offset programs. So some of the programs that Kathleen offers through the summer reading program and the summer camp will get covered by grants. But it's, okay, you're going to get Ron the pirate or whoever to come in. That grant covers him. It doesn't cover your time to set him up or to get him here or to oversee the camp. And so that's really what we're talking about, is the town really stepping up and supporting the public library as the town's public library. And so that funding request for the library for next fiscal year looks like $70,000. And the one question I asked Kathleen when I looked at the staff across the top, so the year-to-date for this year goes through mid-month this month, and you'll notice that the salary line item there is just under $42,000, and that's because they lost a staff member this summer. So normally Wendy would go and help at the summer camp part-time, and then she'd come to the library and work library hours part-time. And she got a job that these days is okay paying, but compared to what she was making at Richford, was really great paying. She got a job paying like $20 an hour or something. And so we didn't have her at the library this summer for that, and we had to cover that elsewhere. And then Kathleen's had some family illness that she's had to take care of. So she's got 2 of her staff members helping cover her in-library hours, which are less expensive than the library director being there. So we're saving money in ways that we wouldn't normally, and that we certainly don't want to repeat in terms of losing employees and having Kathleen have family troubles, but that's where that's coming in. So we've built in some raises for folks, also because minimum wage is going up again next year, so it's going to be above 13. And maybe there are pockets in Franklin County where you can make that work, but there aren't too many. If we want people to be able to participate in the economy in a way that's useful for everyone. So that's my
spiel.
That's my 2 cents as a new person with maybe an outside perspective, but also 20 plus years of experience with a small 1 or 2 person public library that is funded through a town that, frankly, Westford doesn't have the economy that Richford has. No gas stations, no grocery store. We have 1 country store, and Rovers North that does parts for Range Rovers.
Now, like the fundraising, it says $45 in 2022, $0 actually in 2021, and in 2023, it has $50.
Oh, do you have my, where are you looking for? Oh, fundraising, that's expenses. So what I gave you is the expense side.
Okay.
Because the income side is like the town appropriation and an extra $8,000. And
So-
some of that's grants towards programs. I think last year it was only $5,000.
So
some-
anything in fundraising at all?
Very little. So
Okay.
most of the fundraising that public libraries do either comes from grants or they come from the community. This community individually would have to have a handful of people really step up in order to be able to support the library to be available for everyone. That's normally the role that the town would pay as a whole.
I know it's not big money, but like we had the Harvest Festival.
Right, no,
Yeah.
it's included and offset, but that's the reason there's a difference between the total expenses and what the library's asking the town for. So there's a gap there that the library will fill. Literally the only reason that the library hasn't had to make some drastic changes in what it offers in all of these programs is because the last 2 years they've had COVID money. So they've had ARPA money and they've had PPP money, and so that's saved the library in terms of some drastic reductions.
So we've got what's going out. Can we see what's going in, what's coming in?
Yeah, I'm happy to show you what's going in, and I can email that
Yeah,
to you. I
that'd
have
be
it on
great,
my
yeah.
computer, but it's very minimal.
Yeah.
In
Or
terms
just
of
gives us
anything
a
that's
whole
out of
picture
the
that way, instead
town
of just seeing one
appropriation.
side, we can see
Yeah.
the full picture.
Yeah,
That make more sense?
sure, but I just wanted you to
The
see where
balance.
the money would be spent, because
Yeah.
the largest input to the revenue is the town appropriation.
I used to be the town clerk for the town,
Yeah.
and when I first started as town clerk, myself and my assistant used to do a lot with the library to assist them in fundraising.
Yeah.
The last few years, it seems like it's just no effort at all at fundraising. Was there a reason? I mean, you mentioned that it might not get you a lot, but is that the only reason you seem to have stopped trying to raise money on your own?
I don't know, I've only been on the library board since April, but in Westford, we did appeal letters to the community. We
Which
did
we
it
do
through,
too.
Westford has a printed community newsletter, so we did it that way. And we had emails of the people who use the library. Gone are the days of large public benefactors who have like happy memories of growing up in smaller Vermont communities who would give money, so.
I know, speaking
Yeah.
personally, we used to get a letter asking for a donation, and we always made one.
That's
Wasn't
great,
a
that's
huge amount
that's
of
good
money,
feedback, yeah.
But I'm just wondering if you went back to something like that.
Just
Yeah.
the basics on some of that, just for
That,
everybody coming in.
and
too.
that is, well, I think that's community goodwill and it's communication, and that gives people a chance to feel connected and more than just using the resource way, for sure. That is, based on how the library brought in money last year, the gap between what we're asking for and what is here would require the library to do more of that. And I'm new to the board as of
Right.
this summer.
And one of
so-
the reasons that they're not sending out letters is because the response was so, I mean, yes, you sent something in, but not a lot of people did, so because of the expense
Of the
of
mailings.
getting it all together and organizing everything and then sending them out and stuff, it wasn't worth the effort to do that anymore. She does do a lot of electronic stuff like that, but after so many years of doing that, like within the community, you get less and less people that respond.
So I was just thinking, like, we had Harvest Festival, it'd be nice to have like a table from the library down there.
So I hear you on that, and I will tell you that if we want the library to continue being able to staff those sorts of things, we need some help. Because literally every other opportunity that's available for the library to engage in the community, they do.
Right.
And they do it in a really big way. So, we couldn't pull off the Harvest Festival just to what the trustees had going on, because literally we can't afford to send a staff member and pay them. So it's up to us to show up and do it, and we just couldn't pull it off based on everyone's schedule. But under normal circumstances, yeah, the goal is to be able to show up and have those things. But there's so many ways that the library is impactful to the entire town that sometimes we have to pick and choose. Yeah.
It's a tough balancing act. I mean,
It is.
what you're asking for, you know, is one number, but then we are also funding through the buildings fund.
Utilities.
Yeah, well, and maintenance.
Heat, maintenance, lights.
So I mean, that's another added expense that should almost be reflected there, to get the true picture of the expense. Yeah.
I get it. I mean,
I know,
that's
I get it.
the Westford Library was very much the same way, where we'd have an argument with the town about the septic needs to be fixed, and we share the septic tank with the town office, but also we're a town public institution, like, you know what I mean? And so it really is, yeah. So I'm not suggesting that this is a true picture, because it was clear to me from, this is just what's on our side of the
What you control.
P&L. But, yeah, and I know it's an old building, and it's gonna need some help. For that kind of stuff, though, if it's a historic building, there are grants. You know, and we have someone who's a library trustee who's willing to help write those grants.
Right.
That's above and beyond anything here, but that's how you deal with old buildings in Vermont, is you write a grant for it.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure if it's actually on the registry as a historical building.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
so we'll have to, you know, we want it to be a partnership in terms of that building and how we can help. So we're not looking at you all to write grants. We'll be looking for those as well, especially since we were talking to Michael at tonight's meeting about, you know, the leak and the mold I can see in the children's area and the ceiling because the water was in there. And I know you know about it because I know that Kathleen was talking about that.
I had the roof patched, and we were hoping to get the roof fixed this coming up year, but I got one bid, so I can get somebody to show up for it, but I need to get 3 bids before I can have anything voted on.
Yeah, and so but it's, I think for the library, it's a long-term partnership, and I don't ever want us to get to the situation that the cemetery is in, where they come saying, okay, it's yours, like, we can't do anything about it anymore. I think the library is too important to Richford, and if you're looking to build up an economy and a place on Main Street where people want to come and sometimes park, that you, a little bit levity would help, that you also want a robust library system, and but yeah, I know it's a balancing act.
Okay.
I appreciate that, and I'll send you the budget and the other 2 years. They come in different categories. I'll just condense them. But I'll show you what's been happening over the past few years. And I'll send that to Michael and
Send it to
he'll share
Michael, and he can
Okay.
print it out, and we'll have
Great.
it for a budget meeting.
And if you have any questions, Michael knows how to get in touch with me, but, you know, or Deb, reach out to
Okay.
Kathleen. She's a little hard to get a hold of because she's another mom right now. But
Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
thank you for doing what you do. I know, even after, you know, the guests tonight, I know it can be thankless. It can be thankless.
Yeah, it's not an every meeting thing.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No.
And I'm sure the rest of your meeting will be exciting, but
Yeah, no.
I have dinner waiting for me.
No, I understand.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
And then we have Kristen. Do you want to move up to the table?
What's your last name?
Shepherd.
For the moment.
Sorry.
Kristen Shepherd. I was asked to come tonight just to introduce myself, and I'm very interested in the open seat on this library.
Okay. I don't know, have we had any other interests?
I haven't heard of.
I've had people say, but no one's showed up. They've all known tonight's the meeting, that we had a meeting, and we had it posted.
Only person I had reached out to Mark Greenwood. Sorry, Mark said he would be interested in it as well, but
Yep.
that was basically a Facebook
person I had in mind is not ready to make the time commitment at this time, so. Isn't it?
Kristen, you showed up before last time, right?
Yes, yep.
Yes. She had an emergency come up so she couldn't come for their interview where she works. She had something big that she couldn't get hold of. She called Kylie and left a message at 4:35, but Kylie had just left at 4:30. Hence another reason why now we have Michael, that he can take the messages and stuff like that, so.
But she did come to the meeting prior to that
Yes.
meeting and expressed interest.
Yeah.
You said express interest, what was it?
Huh?
Who was that person? Who you said express interest?
Oh,
it
me, I
you.
was here before,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was-
yeah.
Yeah,
Last
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Okay, okay. I thought we were talking about now. I'm confused. I don't remember someone.
No.
Okay, yeah, okay, makes more sense.
I don't know what you're thinking, Andy. Are you thinking of waiting for another couple weeks, or to gather more interest, or willing to take?
Well, I think the longer we wait right now, the shorter the
Yeah.
term is gonna be on
Yeah.
the select board.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I would move to, if Kristen's interested in it, she's the only one that showed up. I would nominate Kristen to take the replacement
Till the
position on the
March.
select board
Till
for
March.
the remaining of the term.
Yep.
I would definitely second that.
Okay. Yeah, because you get to say all those in favor.
Oh, all those in favor, I forgot about that part, he's talking. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Awesome. I'll give you a test on what it's like, and you'll see if you wanna come back from those.
Yeah, I think the only thing you'll have to do is go stop in and see Kylie
Okay.
for some paperwork.
Sworn in, yeah.
Very good.
But feel free to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
definitely, okay. All right, so next, well, we got through guests, and so the Hillside Cemetery, we've taken care of that, the guests, pledge allegiance call. Library board of members, we got right through them, and approval of the select board minutes for 12/5. I had one change for the time,
Okay.
from 6:30 to 6 o'clock. I didn't see anything else, did anybody else?
Nope.
No,
Making a motion to approve,
I'll make that motion.
okay?
second.
All who say aye?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Hi.
You were here, but you're close enough, might as well get in practice. Okay, and so those are approved. The budget meetings for 12/5. Minutes, we didn't really have a budget meeting.
That
We
was the
started,
Yeah, no, that was
That was the
previous. This
previous
one,
one.
we did have one that
oh, we did, you guys did, okay.
one. You were there.
I was
Yeah,
there.
you-
I'm stuck on the last one we had, it was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
short. There really ended up not being one.
I make a move to approve those minutes.
Second.
Okay, all who say aye?
Aye.
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 So that's done. Did you want to do this during your update?
Yeah, we put that under the water and sewer.
Perfect, okay.
But, yeah, I'm gonna just write
Town
this out, then I
administrator?
can
Yeah.
do that. So now I gotta remember, because I locked out my book.
Oh, no.
So I got a call a couple days ago from a resident on River Street. They were wondering if they could get a street light on the pole that's in front of their house. There's no street light there. They called Vermont Electric Co-op, and the co-op told them that the town would have to put in for the street light. So she called me up to ask if the town could do that.
Do we have to make the request or pay for it, or both?
Both.
I'm assuming it's
Thinking
gonna be
both.
both.
Where is it located?
It's on River Street. I mean, I gave the address, but I don't know if you wanna
Right,
Say-
okay.
where it is.
So is it
I even
an
could say
odd amount
afterwards.
of not having lights, or is there something
She just said
obviously
that there's
missing?
no light on her pole that's in front of her house, and she said it's really dark out there. She would like one post.
Or maybe we should do a ride-by
There's a
and just
lot of
see if it's
places
an
though,
odd.
they don't
Yeah.
have a light on every pole.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, let's see if it's an odd amount distance,
Yeah, we
I
could.
think it's every other pole, isn't it?
down through there, every other pole.
Yeah, we can do a look at it.
Yeah,
Okay, so just,
we'll all do drive-through-bys and see how it looks.
so.
Along with the
current-
Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And then I also had a second person call me, it was about the parking ban.
Yes.
Because they had their car towed. And they were wondering, they would like to get a space at the parking lot at the, across from the Legion. That was resident or tenant, so it's a little different than how it was handled previously, but they were wondering if that could be done for them, so they don't get towed.
Is this for the apartment above Legion?
I don't know if it's that one.
Because Robert,
I don't believe so.
Robert St. Pierre had asked me the same thing. He wanted to know if we would give him, the Legion, for their one apartment upstairs, an assigned parking spot in that parking lot,
Mhm.
but if we would donate it because it's a nonprofit, it's a Legion.
I don't think that was that definitely was not
Okay.
the call I
I
had.
think if it's somebody in one of the apartments, the reason zoning requires
Right.
parking spaces is so the landlords have to provide parking.
Mhm.
The whole intent of having that parking lot down there was to provide short-term parking for
Right.
people
And,
who wanted to go to the Legion or the pop-up shop or
and the only reason why we
someplace
did it
downtown.
before was because that place, the
Right.
building didn't have parking. So yeah.
Right,
And
and
I
the
don't
Legion
know
has
that
a
we
parking
wanna
lot, but
fill
it's
it up
down
with
at the end.
people,
Mhm.
you know, that
Designated
are-
parking
have-
spots.
supposed to have parking
Mhm.
in their apartment buildings.
So I'll just, I can tell them that and then kind of go from
What are
there.
you thinking? Has Robert, purchased 4, 2 for ANH and 2 for his apartments?
Yeah, I don't.
We're opening that can of worms. We did it once, we did it twice now.
But the reason we did it there was because they didn't have any other spaces.
Right,
People in these other buildings should have spaces in their buildings.
Yeah, it's the ones I'm thinking of, the ones that are parking along the lower end. Those are all connected to landlords that have stated they have parking.
right.
And I know speaking to Jason, he spoke to that landlord and he was very adamant that he has parking for those individuals.
Yep.
For those.
Around the side of, behind
Yeah.
the building.
So I'm not inclined, if there's parking available, and it's just not to their desired location, to necessarily give it.
Okay.
So what about the one to the Legion? Because they do not have a parking spot anywhere in that area. They have a parking lot,
They have
Down
their own
on-
parking lot.
yeah, down on the other side of the
Kind of the same,
laundromat.
kind of the same thing.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that far. I mean, you're talking 50 yards further.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rowena?
From the zoning point of view, the landlords can have the parking up to, I think it's 600 feet away.
So it's 200 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it's not forever and ever that you're walking, but you can walk a little bit of a distance down.
Perfect. Okay.
So you said parking needs 600 feet?
I believe it's 600 feet.
Okay.
Check with John to confirm the amount, but there is a space.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So is that good there?
Good thing.
There, and I'll just let them know that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we received parking right grant, got that award letter today. So we can go through with that. That's all, well, we can do in-kind
Yeah.
match, so the highway crew can work on it. So that can be our 20% match for that, their time and labor for that, for upgrading the culverts underneath and whatever else needs to be done there.
Yeah, like
We're
smoothing,
doing a-
leveling, prepping.
Parking ride down behind, by the high school.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, big
That's gonna be all paved and it'll be nice for parking for Main Street, people can walk up and down.
Mhm. And then we received the grant
River
award
Street.
letter for the historical preservation grant to help pay for some of the damaged plaster at the post office. And that one, we can do, that could be done next year. The deadline to have it all completed is December 31st, 2024.
Nice.
So,
So you actually have 2 years.
yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have to,
So I
you
can
don't have to.
budget and budget without hitting all at once with our part.
So we're kind of working with her on the grant administrator for that, to kind of see the next steps. and I said I'd relay the message to you
Okay.
about that.
Yep.
So those are two we got. I don't remember what's left on my. I know I have more, but I don't
I
remember
know you
it.
Yeah.
So.
The pillars at the post office.
Oh yeah, those. So today for the credit union that we're bringing in at the post office,
Ace?
they started putting in the pillars for the back ramp. So they dug that up. They put them in. They look good.
They good.
So
What credit union?
today.
North Country.
So, yep, that was done today, and then I have insurance form application for, it's called construction, it's like builder's construction insurance, so like all the inventory that they have, just to make sure nothing happens to it, or if something does happen to it, it's covered.
That's the only holdup at this point.
That is the holdup right now, and I have the application for it, so Kylie and I are filling it out, and as we're working on that, to continue moving that along. Yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, I'll just stop there. If I have anything else, I'll just have to
Okay.
let you all know later.
So now we have highway.
Well, first major snowstorm, no breakdowns, a controversy, as we can attest to our earlier guest. The individual towed 8 vehicles. Jason estimated 5 on the street, parked on the street, and 3 in the parking lot across from the Legion. Jason felt we should make sure we continue to post it and have maybe a contact added to the town hall's message service saying if your vehicle has been towed due to the parking ban, you can reach
Yeah, I think
Underwood.
they had that on the sign today.
Yeah.
Well, on the sign, but maybe
When they call.
on maybe have that be an option on the phone.
Oh, on the phone. Okay.
On the phone
Like
system.
Electric sign.
I had a question come up concerning the parking ban this weekend about the other parking lots, not just the one across.
That was Jason's other concern, is that we should have the same
Preston.
same signage and same precedence.
We wouldn't be able to for the park and ride though,
Eventually, no.
right? Once it turns into the park and ride, because people park overnight
Yeah.
to go to work.
Um,
So,
And I think we need to confirm, go back and look at, can you send us everything that we have on the parking ban and its rules, just so I can review it?
Yeah.
To make sure it's all on the up and up. I guess I know we've had it in place for years, we can't enforce it.
yeah, we changed the times a couple of times to
But
match each other.
But I guess I assumed when I spoke with Jason earlier that it was during the snowstorm. I guess I do wonder why is it in place every night during the winter? I guess
I know it
Yeah.
is, and the
Yeah.
reason for that.
because you don't know when it's gonna snow.
You don't know when it's
Yeah.
gonna snow,
Yeah.
and what the highway crew used to do
Is
was,
do some scraping and stuff.
yeah, they would do a lot of cleaning up at night, late at night,
Yeah.
like taking up the banks on Main Street
Yeah.
from in front of the
So it
businesses.
gives them that window
Yes.
Right, and if the cars were there, they
Yeah.
weren't able to get in with the loader. to-
in all the places they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It
Because
does.
I mean, I remember they do that in Enosburg. I've seen them when I
Everywhere.
used to go to work early, go through Enosburg at 4:30. They would be doing that right on Main Street.
I mean, it doesn't matter how many people live here in town, it's still Main Street.
Right.
And it's still our Main Street.
And I get I can understand somebody's struggles, but most of the guest concerns were lack of services being provided by his landlord,
Exactly.
not with the town.
Right.
You know, the fact that they had to leave Main Street is not our concern. The tenant needed to be, the landlord needs to provide adequate access and make sure it's not slippery or whatever. Yeah, like you said, safe.
You know, there's a reason we have the ban. It's so that our guys can do the
They have
work
Well,
that
time
needs
to
to be
clean it up.
done
And
for
yes.
businesses.
I
Well,
agree.
And it's always the greater good.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, what impacts 1 or 2 individuals should not offset what benefits the whole.
Exactly.
So, I guess we'll see how this goes, but that's the current update. I mean, we knew it was gonna be, there was gonna be a little shock factor the first time it happened.
Yeah.
And hopefully this is progressively less now that people are aware of it.
Yep.
Well, now that you're enforcing it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
People
Now
know
we
that.
have somebody that can do it for us,
Yeah.
that's going to be doing it for us. It's awesome.
But other than that, sounds like the first major snowstorm went off without a hitch, plowing wise, no additional breakdowns.
Nice. It's always going us on.
Yep.
Okay, building reports, basically the only thing we have going on at this point is the pillars at the post office, waiting for the insurance to get the bank. They're still hoping to be in there by March, or in March.
April 1st is their targeted,
Yeah.
but they want around that time, yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the first quarter, so, which is nice. Besides that, we don't have a lot going on. Everything else is kind of on hold after budget. So next is water and sewer.
I don't have notes in front of me, Sherry, but I don't recall if I mentioned the fire hydrant up here at the train station had spacer put in, that's taken care of.
Yeah.
I was mentioned at the last meeting, actually. The other thing that I have is the fire hydrant down at the wood chip plant has been fixed.
It has been fixed?
Taken care of. It has been fixed. And that's all I have that I can think of off the top of my head.
No update from Jeremy?
I have not talked to Jeremy, so no.
About what?
Getting the corrected quote and getting the boring.
Oh, yeah, that.
Oh, the last I heard, Michael, you go ahead and talk, you dealt with that part of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, that, Andy was not too interested in doing that over again.
Rightfully so.
Right.
I mean, as a town, we have failed in getting an answer to him in a timely manner.
Yeah, we have.
Extremely failed him. So I can understand being upset.
Mhm.
And the fact that Jeremy did not ask the appropriate questions before trying to attempt a quote and just kind of threw together a haphazard quote is even more upsetting to me. I mean, and I mean, the fact we need to do better as a town if we're going to encourage business, and this is not a way to do it. I mean, this is, I remember sitting here with the previous guy either in June or July. We're now in December, you know, and to provide a simple yes, no, will we help provide the funding, you know, the funding source, and we don't even have an accurate number yet, is very disheartening to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's you, Andy, or Michael, but we need to start getting on. I don't know if we need to contact Jeremy's boss or what, but this is totally inadequate.
So at this point, Jeremy basically told me he was going off what he remembers talking with Daryl for, so that right there, and that's why I had asked VDOT for them to get together. And, you know, I understand Andy's frustrated, but all I can say that he's trying, and he was willing to meet, but then all of a sudden, Andy's upset and he doesn't want to meet with us.
Well, I think there's a lot of variables. I mean, to hear the other side, Jeremy was there the day Andy met with him the first time and discussed exactly what he wanted. So,
But was it miscommunication? That's my question. I mean, we never saw a hard blueprint as where these water lines were set up, and that's my argument right there, Wally. If you don't have anything that's mapped out, how can you tell exactly? If we were walking a field, this is where I'd like to go in, it's a rough estimate.
well, I don't know. Okay, we can go that way if we want, but
It just took us too long to get here.
I think it's been pretty, I have understood it. He said from the Ave Maria's, where he turned to go to the Ave Maria, and he wants to bore under the road before the horseshoe, the other side of the horseshoe. To me, that's pretty clear. That's not going way down way down into where the tall grass is by Kim and Ward Manley's. I mean, it was before the horseshoe, under the road.
is right where his property borders the border patrol station. I believe we could go back and look at numerous meetings where that was explicitly said. Maybe there's a communication issue, but we need to do better as a town. I will meet with Jeremy if that's what it takes. But this has got to end. I say, come heck or high water, we need to have to provide him an answer in the next meeting or so. Because this is just not acceptable as a town practice.
Any business person can.
I don't care if it ends up being yes or no, if it ends up being no. He deserves an answer. And we should be able to we should be able to develop a hard quote faster than we have.
So the agreement with Jeremy the last time was that we were going to get together and have Andy meet, and he didn't want to meet. Which I understand, yes, he's frustrated, but if Jeremy knows exactly where he wants it, where Andy tells him yes, and that's out with proposal that we get this in so we could get the hard quote.
All right, we're gonna have to disagree on this one because I was pretty explicit as to where it needed to go when I told him his quote was wrong, and he could have based it off that. So, I mean, we told him right then and there that he was more than double what he needed to be, and we told him exactly where to go. So we're not looking for, it's gonna cost $5,201. We're looking that it's gonna cost approximately $5,000. We're not looking for hard and fast, right to the foot. We're just looking for somewhere in the ballpark. So, whether he doesn't need to know dead on to the exact millimeter, but we should be able to provide him with a quote. I'll meet with Jeremy if that's what it takes.
And we'll get a rough estimate. As long as Jeremy knows where it is, he can get you an estimate.
Okay.
And I'll be in contact with him.
Yeah. If he needs to know exactly where it's got to go, call me.
Okay.
I have something on the water and sewer, 10 Elm Street. The valve.
Yeah.
I had thought we had already agreed to do it, but apparently we didn't. It's not in the minutes that we agreed to do it. So.
I was under the impression we agreed to do it.
I was too.
As was I.
Okay. So is that something we can put officially to a vote right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the refrigerator size line to prevent freezing, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
With a little valve, this
Yes.
spigot thing.
Yes.
I make a motion to put in that valve on 10 Elm Street.
I'll second.
Okay. All who say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay?
Nay, Alan?
I'm gonna say no, yeah.
Okay. So it's 3-1. Motion passed.
Kylie had an email that she wanted us to discuss as well, right? Did we do that in executive? Do we want to discuss that one in executive?
That wouldn't be executive session if it's the one I'm thinking of with the two
I don't
water
know that
leaks.
works.
Two water bills, yes, of concern. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do we
Is
want-
that executive? Not executive.
No, we
Okay.
won't discuss those now. I don't remember the exact details. Do you have an email on that? Do you?
I do not.
I do.
Did she send it out?
Yeah, I can't get connected to the internet here today. But basically, there were two that went over for various reasons, and they're asking for forgiveness.
While Sherry's looking up the exact numbers here, I do want to say that this is another one of those things that needs to go in our updated water rules.
Yes.
These are the type of things we can't be dealing with on a case-by-case basis.
Exactly.
We need a policy that covers these things. I know it's not we, but the select board has waived water bills in the past, and it's really not something we should be doing. That's treated water. The people on the water system are paying for that water, and it's just, in my mind, not fair to the people paying water bills to have those bills forgiven. I understand people have leaks, but we need to come up with some kind of policy that, to me, doesn't forgive all of the bill. Maybe it allows for some relief in certain cases, but provides that the homeowner takes responsibility for their own leak and pays something. So we do need to come up with some kind of a policy, and I know we don't have it now, so we're probably going to be forced to deal with these two cases individually, but going forward.
This is one that's on the top of your list, right, Michael?
Right, so I can look out for this. I had 3 towns that I have accumulated in my
Well,
my
I've
document.
already written 2 different versions of what I think we should go with, but
Okay.
by all means, check with the other.
Yeah, I was
towns.
gonna say this wasn't like something I was particularly looking for, but I can go back and look for it, see how it's handled.
Yeah.
So yeah, you two will work together to.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we've
in
been
January,
working on this, yeah.
that's gonna be our first thing, Michael.
Okay.
Once we get done the budget, before we get too close to town meeting and get caught up with that, we need to rewrite, update the water rules and basically create the sewer rules.
Sure.
And
Sounds
then
good.
the board can take a look and approve it or make changes.
I'm thinking
But we need something.
I'm thinking
And it needs
by,
to be.
Yeah, because this is taking up way too much time of our meetings for one thing, and like I agree, it's too hard to deal with it on a circumstance by circumstance basis.
Right. One of the bills is $1,700, normally around $500.
And what was the claim?
They had a leak, tacked on the run. Has demand fair. One of the bills was $1,700, normally around $500. Had hot water tank leak, also deaf tenant.
And how does that play into the?
Must have been an apartment building. Must have been one of the apartments.
But how does that play into the leak?
The deaf tenant didn't hear the leaking down in the basement. Landlord got the bill, went what the hell's going on, and checked it out, I'm assuming. Found the leak, and never had said anything about it. That's one of them. The other one,
Was he the sole tenant in that property? I mean, I guess.
I do not know, it does not say. The other one was around $4,020 for a duplex. She is normally around $1,000 to $1,400. Issue was tenant side. Her total bill is now over $5,600 from spring and fall. It doesn't say what the issue was.
$4,000 water bill for a 2-apartment house, that's a pile of water.
Yeah, you think?
That's $7 for 1,000 gallons, that's a ton of water, treated water.
Yeah.
Is that what it costs roughly? $7 a thousand?
Yeah. That's what the usage is, there's a base charge on top of that, but the usage is 7 something per 1,000 gallons, so if we're talking a $4,000 bill, that's a ton of.
Yeah, it's 4
treated
times the
water.
amount it usually is, because usually it's between $1,000 and $1,400, and it was
And there's a
$4,020.
couple ways, to look at this. I think, I don't think it's fair to, a landlord doesn't pay enough attention to their apartment and, granted, you're probably not gonna find something like this right away, but, do we want to, I guess, overlook or reward a landlord for neglecting their property?
Alan, are you thinking that they pay a portion of the bill?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. So what would you think about paying half of what they think they're over?
Hopefully know why.
Huh? I don't know.
$1,000 bill, I mean.
Yeah, $1,700 is this one, and so we're usually around $500.
So you subtract the 5 from the 17, you get $1,200 more than what it should be, right?
We'll forgive 6 and they'll pay for the other 6?
Correct.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Alan?
I guess in lieu of any other policy, I would support that, yes.
How do you feel about that, Wally?
I guess until we have an established policy, yes.
Okay.
Um,
Same thing with the one that her bill is now over $5,600, because it's $4,000 over her normal.
Well, we want to be careful on that one because it sounds like
It's a duplex.
part of that is a previous delinquency and not the current bill with the leak in
It
it.
says her other amount, The other was around $4,020 on a duplex. She's normally around $1,000 to $1,400. Issue was tenant side, her total bill is over $5,600 from spring to fall.
I don't think we want to get into forgiving delinquent,
Right, not the
previous
delinquent,
delinquency, but maybe the current bill with the league, maybe
say it
we
was a
forgive
leak, though.
half of it.
Yeah, it doesn't say it's a
It doesn't
leak.
say it was a leak.
No.
You don't know why it was
We
that.
don't know why it's that high.
I mean, the tenant could have used that much
It's
water.
like 80,000 gallons of water, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying, is there a pool on the property?
But on the other
Yeah,
hand, it
exactly.
doesn't take long. If
No,
you've
not
got-
on a continuous
When
basis.
it's running 24/7.
No.
And then you get a hose outside or something going.
Yep.
I honestly think we
Color that
should be
leaks.
reaching right back out. I think we should be reaching out to them to
Find out the
cause
exact
why
source.
so much water.
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
So before we agree to that one,
Yeah.
get some additional information.
Yeah, get more information on the one for $4,020.
Yep.
Gather some more information on what the cause was, what happened. And then if it's the same as the other one, if it was a leak that wasn't found, we'll do the same as what we did with this first one. And if not, we'll have to discuss it again.
Sounds
Sound
fair.
good?
Yep.
All right?
So are you gonna make a motion for that first one?
Yes. We're gonna make a motion for the bill that is $1,700, is normally around $500, that their,
1,700?
their bill is up to $1,700.
Yep.
They're gonna pay $600 plus the $500, and we'll forgive the other $6. Because it was a faulty thing with the apartment or the house.
One thing I've had just some preliminary talks with Kylie about is to try to prevent some of these situations. Maybe try eventually, not right away, but we maybe go to a quarterly billing on the water and sewer instead of every 6 months, so that if somebody has a leak,
I've
that might
had
get
several people
found.
come to me and ask how come it hasn't been changed yet. If we can do garbage every quarter, why can't we do water and sewer every quarter?
Well, I can
Receiving
tell-
envelopes.
Yeah, it's a ton of work.
I would love
It's
to make
less
it.
work for the water and sewer guys now because of the radio reads,
Yep.
but for this office in here, it's a lot of work.
But it's
But
a huge
maybe,
one.
we've talked a little bit about maybe trying to free up some time from other things to, I would like to see us try to get to a quarterly water bill.
I've been asking for 5 years. So, to me, to swallow a $700 bill at Christmas time versus a $350 bill makes a huge difference in people's Christmas and people's, winter fuel and,
The other thing we should look at maybe too is, and I don't know if this is feasible, but with the radio reads on these water meters, it takes no time at all to read those meters. And, maybe a couple, 3 times a year, maybe Jeremy would have the time to just do a quick water read to see. And maybe if somebody's got something strange, leak or
Abnormal.
something going on, it would be caught sooner.
yep.
It's too bad they
Just an
weren't,
idea.
too bad they weren't all wireless and you could just see it. You know what I mean? Like it was it all self-reported. You could see it almost on like a.
He can pretty much
Yeah.
with those.
You mean like so it could like? Not, I
He
mean
could
what?
stand out in front of the town
Yeah, yeah.
hall and read most of the town's water meters.
So he couldn't get it to report to a computer system and like you could say, oh, month over month you've used double. What's and have a reach out.
He could, they could do that.
I think
I mean,
that
it would
should
have
be,
to come through Kylie's billing software, but the actual reads can be done that quickly.
easily?
Yeah.
So maybe that's something to consider too. Like, because and build in some red flag parameters. Like, oh, month over month you're double. All right, what happened? Oh, you're watering your lawn. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, it's dead of winter and you got a cracked pipe somewhere, underground or something.
The other advantage of that is if we've got a meter or a radio read that's not working, we'll find it before the end of the billing period, so we get it fixed.
Yep. Well, that's something to consider. But that is.
Alan,
Yeah,
Are you able to build in parameters into that where you can see, get a red flag?
yep, because we've got it's right on NEMRIC now, every account has an average usage. So you take the average usage, divide it by 6, we can pretty much know what they use on a monthly basis, and you can refine it even further if you want. So,
That way you could catch a leak before, when it's only a couple
you
$100
know,
over
you got somebody
versus-
that uses an average of 2,000 a month, if they do the reading, and they've used 6,000 this month, then,
There's something going on, let's fix it now
Yeah.
before they got a $70,000 bill.
Yep.
Yep.
So let's, who do you want to talk with, work with Jeremy or work with Jeremy and Kylie to get that going on?
yeah.
The quarterly thing is huge, I've had a lot of people.
Yeah,
The
and I
sooner we can get that
understand,
down is the better. for
I
all of us.
understand the challenges from the standpoint of the clerk's office doing quarterly billings, because it eats up a pile of time to do that, but, you know,
But it also gives a better,
Alan,
it gives a better read on our finances too on it, because you're, you
And it's easier
have
to
it 4
get
times
them-
instead of twice.
yeah.
Alan, could the bills be combined where they sent out at the same time?
As garbage,
I'm talking about the garbage and the water and sewer.
yeah, both bills, same districts, right?
Yeah, there's no way to combine them, they're on different modules in memory.
No, he's talking about stuffing the envelope with.
Right, you could have, separate bills in the same envelope.
Yes, with the same stamp,
Yeah, that's what I'm,
Yeah, you could do that, but the bills themselves.
Are separate.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think that makes sense, it'd be saving us money on one thing, bringing money, smaller flows of money in sooner.
But like I
Less
say, I think we
delinquencies.
want to get Kylie involved in this discussion because, this directly involves her
Yeah.
and I do, like I say, I fully get how crazy this office gets at times.
Yeah.
That'd be a good, quick topic at the budget meeting on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so parks, playgrounds, and cemeteries.
I mean, the only thing I know of is that they're still waiting for the ice rink to freeze over more.
Yeah.
They did have someone walk out on it and they weren't supposed to,
Ah.
and so it kind of, made-
Set it back a little bit?
yeah, it did. So they're continuing to wait on the ice to freeze up, but then this week it's supposed to warm back up. So
Just for one day, yeah.
yeah, but
Still sets it back.
hmm
Oh, get rid of the footprint that way.
Well, but since we're talking about cemeteries and our earlier conversation,
They can abandon it and we end up with it anyway, so.
are we, and we're legally obligated to maintain it?
Absolutely.
Because it's a public, what are the rules behind that, I guess? I'm just out of curiosity.
If a cemetery is abandoned, the town
Is
is
obligated.
automatically responsible for it.
So I guess it's,
No matter what we do.
yeah, no matter what, we're probably gonna get it. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know what the, like they said, oh, we can abandon it and like,
But I don't know
I don't think
what
they
they
want
have
to.
for money now, but, if the town took it over, whatever money they have I would say would have to come to the town.
Yes.
Yeah, once the abandonment, any leftover funds go back into our general fund, right? Is
Yes.
and
that how it works, Alan?
Yeah,
what fund,
Okay.
what cemeteries do we currently maintain?
oh my goodness,
All of them?
all of them, yeah.
This is the only one we only take their half.
And now would be actually a good time. It's easier to take over a cemetery when you've got people running it now versus
Trying to take
having
over.
everybody just quit and try to take over a cemetery when there's nobody running it. We had to do that once up in, it's off Whiteman Hill, I think, somewhere. And that was quite a process to get the town
Oh, I know what you're talking
to
about, yeah.
legally take it over because everybody was gone, there was nobody running it.
So if we take it over and do like a phased approach, even just a couple of years or whatever?
Yeah.
All right, so I guess again, it's a budget meeting topic.
Budget meeting talk.
But, okay, I just was wondering like what our obligations were. And it sounds like statutorily, we're obligated to take it over.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, is that it for parks, playgrounds, and cemeteries?
Well, I want to go back because you did make a motion, but there was no,
Oh,
you never finished it because I added on to the,
okay.
um,
So which motion was it?
the motion about the paying the bill and forgiving it.
Oh, the $600,
Yeah, that was
yes.
never fully,
Okay, so I made a motion to do that. Did anybody second it?
I'll second.
I'll say aye.
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 okay.
And as far as the second one, we're going to revisit that,
Yeah,
and see the
revisit that,
causes,
Yep.
and then we'll relook at that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Any other business?
Just that we have that meeting on Friday.
Yes, we need to say we have that meeting on Friday at 6 o'clock. About announcing the trash.
Well, charter change.
Charter change, that's what it is.
Charge, yeah.
And we have that drafted and everything, so we can share it with them.
Yeah, you've got out the draft.
Oh, yeah, we have, yeah, what our lawyer sent us, we have the draft, and it's on
Yep.
out front on the board, because that's how you have to display it when you have a charter change, when you
Yep.
warn it. So that's been 3 places, and it went in the newspaper Friday. So we're all set on the announcement front there. We just have to show up at the meeting.
Okay, good enough.
Okay. So that's other business, nothing else? Andy, anything else?
I have nothing.
Okay. So I guess that's an adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
All right.
Was that a motion to adjourn or?
That was a motion to adjourn.